For those in the US, good morning. For those in Australia, good evening. This is Jeff Person. I am the US AFL Umpire Association president. I have several members of our nationals, what we call our tournament team, on this particular call, and I know there's several who are calling in from the side in Australia. I'm going to ask a couple to introduce themselves so that while we're recording this, and also we're using the AI feature of Zoom to capture the discussion that we're going through. It helps the AI to identify who's saying what. So, Sid, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Good morning, good evening. I'm Sid Caesar. I'm the treasurer of the USAFL, UA.
And Liam Dye.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Liam, field umpire in Australia, and I've had the privilege of attending, I think, four or five of these national tournaments now. So, yeah, looking forward to maybe bringing a few more over this year to help out.
All right, great. Thanks so much, guys. So, what we're going to do is we're going to spend, I think, probably between 10 and 15 minutes going through what it is for the Nationals. And we're going to go through about 6 or 8 slides to delineate all the different aspects of what goes on. It's being recorded, so please go ahead and ask questions. We can edit later if we need to. And we want to make sure we get all the information out to everybody who is contemplating potentially coming over to the US in October to attend our Nationals. So what I'll do is we'll go through the agenda first. We're going to go through what is USAFL Nationals. We're going to go through what does the weekend look like. We'll go through what is included as part of the weekend, and then we'll go through how much will I be working. So with that, we'll jump right into it. The US Nationals is an international event. We've always had the participation of just about every single club in the US, going all the way back to 1998. And we have a number of teams that have come down from Canada to participate as well. Even though it's US AFL, we do have Canadian teams coming down, making the trip and participating. This year's tournament is in Tucson, Arizona, from Friday to Sunday, the October 17th to 19th. The venue is at Kino Sports Park South. It's on the south end of Tucson. Tucson is about 2 hours south of Phoenix if you're looking at the map, in the southwest corner of the US. There are a number of different hotels, quite a few actually, that participate. There's usually about 1,200 or more players and coaches, et cetera, who are participating. And last year we had, I think it was, we had 60 umpires uh, on site for the weekend. The airport is the Tucson Airport. TUS is the code. If you want to fly to Phoenix Sky Harbor, code PHX, it's about a 2 hour drive from Phoenix down to Tucson. The US Nationals is the largest footy carnival in the world. We've had as many as 6 fields, but mostly we have 5 fields running simultaneously all day, Saturday and Sunday. Somewhere between 90 and 100 games, including women's division and exhibition games. There are over 500 assignments that we do. We have 90 plus umpire observations that we do for our developing umpires, usually leading to around 20 to 25 umpire accreditations. So we certainly take advantage of this to see many, if not all, but many of our umpires during the year. We don't get a chance to see them 100% of the time because the US is so big. So we use this, uh, we leverage this time to do almost 100 observations to help those umpires develop. We have an on-site umpire clinic, which we do for all disciplines and all levels. That's on Friday afternoon. And we have several umpire meetings and dinners. So it's a jam-packed weekend. So that is what the USAFL Nationals is for that weekend. Any questions for around that? All right. What does the weekend look like? There are a lot of activities starting Friday afternoon, finishing on Sunday. Thursday, really, we have a welcome dinner for the guests, and that's the unofficial welcome that we do for everybody coming in from out of town, especially from Australia. So we get a chance to introduce ourselves to you, and you get a chance to meet us. We get a chance to meet you. We'll do that around 7 o'clock. We'll pick a restaurant locally there, obviously in Tucson. Friday, things will get started in the afternoon. We have a clinic that we'll do on field, usually on the main field and one of the other 4 fields. We'll divide up into the various disciplines, goals, and boundaries. We'll have our multiple coaches there running multiple groups within the goals and within the field umpires from 2 to 5 p.m. So we'll do a little bit of a talk at the beginning, and then we'll get out on the field for a couple hours, run around doing drills and so on and so forth. Many of you from Australia are used to doing that. We do that here in the US primarily because most of our umpires don't have a chance to get together with each other and to actually run drills with senior umpires and better understand how it is they can be umpiring games. After that, there'll be a little break for everybody to go a chance to get cleaned up and go get dinner. We will have our umpire meeting on Friday night, and that includes the bullet below, which is the annual general meeting. The umpire meetings where we'll go over the weekend. The schedule will have already been sent out. So who's going to be working when? It's a chance to ask questions about rules. It's a chance to talk about what other things we're doing on the weekend with the other events outside of the games. With the annual general meeting, which we'll be running that within that meeting at 8 o'clock. We have to do our, because we're a legal entity, we have to do this annual general meeting. We will elect a number of officers for the coming 2-year block of time. And we'll also, if there's any adjustments that we need to make to our bylaws, right now we don't have any schedule, but if we did, we'd have to vote on that. It's also a chance because a lot of people don't come in necessarily early enough on Friday at 2 o'clock for the clinic. It's also a chance for everybody to meet all of our guests coming over from Australia. So it's a great chance to kind of sit back and relax before the hectic side of running 5 fields simultaneously with all the games on Saturday, Sunday. So just a chance to meet and greet as well on Friday. The umpire dinner on Saturday, which is usually around 7:30, that will include presentations. It'll have our accreditation awards that will have been completed on Saturday during the day, and it will also have our grand finals appointments for the Sunday grand finals. The round robin games will be from 8 a.m., not necessarily all 5 fields, but usually we start at 8 a.m. on at least a couple of fields and going through 6 p.m. on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we'll kick off at usually 8 a.m. as well, going to about 1 o'clock or so on Sunday to get all the round robin games completed. And that will then determine which teams are going to be playing Sunday afternoon in the grand finals. The awards ceremony follows directly after that last men's Division I grand final. And then after that, which is usually around 6 or 6:30, we're done. Those of you who are still in town, if you take off, that's fine. But if you are still around, we will have a thank you dinner for all of our guests. We usually do that around Sunday about 8 p.m. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of activity starting at 2 o'clock on Friday. It's pretty much nonstop until we finish dinner on Sunday night. Mostly everybody comes in on Thursday at the latest, and they leave sometime on Monday. And the other thing a lot of people have done coming over from Australia is to make a big holiday of it. So this 3 or 4 days will be a piece of a much longer, sometimes as much as 2 or 3 weeks holiday, and going to LA or Las Vegas or wherever it happens to be that you want to visit and make a big holiday trip out of the whole thing. Any questions around that before I move forward? Okay. What is included as part of this weekend? For our working umpires and support staff, we provide travel support. So we will have the hotel room for you from Thursday through Monday. That's 4 nights. If you want to stay in Tucson longer, let us know. We can work on getting additional nights in the hotel for you if you're going to be hanging out and looking around Tucson, Arizona. We will arrange for transfers to and from the airport and the hotel. We will have transfers to and from the hotel to and from the ground. So getting you around. Some people have rented cars because they want to do trips on their own, which is perfectly fine. But we'll do everything we can to make sure you don't have to worry about getting a rental car. The gear we will have for you, USAFL Umpire Association, we have an umpire shirt. We have an umpire gear bag. and our newest addition to the gear that we have, which is, I think it's in production right now, where we should have those shortly. Airfeet, which is a company based out of Indianapolis, is producing Airfeet insoles. So as we know, many of us are running around quite a bit, and so we thought insoles might be a helpful thing to keep our feet nice and comfortable. So the actual president of that organization is an umpire, so he's arranged for us to get insoles for everybody. Tucker, which is a little way of saying, hey, we speak Australian here in the US. We have the dinners, welcome on Thursday. The awards night on Saturday is also a dinner, and then the thank you on Sunday. And then during the day on Saturday and Sunday, which is pretty much all day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. both days, we have snacks and water on the ground literally all day during those games. So we'll get you a lunch ticket so you can get a sandwich of some kind, etc. So pretty much from Thursday night all the way through Sunday night, unless you want to go out and do something on your own separately, you don't have to worry about getting any food. Any questions around that one? All right. How much will I be working? Well, it depends on which discipline you're in. Field goal, boundary, and coaching. It's going to be based on your desire to work in each discipline. Some umpires have worked in multiple disciplines during the weekend. Mostly they just stick in the same category. So as a field umpire, you can expect a minimum of 6 games. The games are 1 hour. They take about an hour, I should say. They're two 20-minute halves. So typically, games for the field umpires will be 1 game on, 1 game off. We have 4 games in the morning and 4 games in the afternoon. As you might recall from the time slots from 8 a.m. till about 6 p.m., that's more than 8 hours. Depends on how things are broken down, but approximately 6 games, 2 each half day until the middle of Sunday, and that's leading up into the finals. As a goal umpire, it's 9 to 10 games. So it's about 3 games per 4 or 5 hour block during the day. Boundary umpires, which we've started doing the last couple of years, we don't have a set number of boundary umpires that we know are coming. We mostly make the clubs run the boundary umpires for us, but we do have boundary umpires that have started showing up, which is great. And you can run as many games as you feel fit to do. So we've had umpires running just 2 or 3 to help out. We've also had umpires running 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of those during the weekend, which is a heck of a lot of running, but usually boundary umpires love running, so it's okay for them. Umpire coaching, you remember earlier I was talking about the 90 plus observations we do. So if you're an advanced accreditation umpire, we ask that you do 3 games observing our less experienced umpires. So we'll mix that in with whatever your working schedule is, so we can have you and your experience helping out our umpires who are working through the process of becoming a better umpire in whichever discipline it happens to be, whether it's field goal or boundary. We do have some standard forms we use. We ask you to complete those. We'll have those pre-printed for the weekend. We'll do all those assignments for the observations ahead of time, so you'll know what your whole schedule is before you even get out onto the field. And so fill those out, and that's important for them umpires that are being observed, not only for their accreditation, so they can become better, but also we actually PDF those at the end of the weekend and send those out to all the umpires so they can refer back to whatever your comments and observations were. And that's really the invaluable piece to the coaching that we do and helps grow our umpires here. Any questions about how much working is involved? Okay. So who has worked nationals before? We've had umpires from a number of different umpire groups around the world, really. As you can see here, several from all over Australia, from east to west and north and south. We've also had AFL Canada, England, Germany, and Tasmania umpires represented over the years with our USAFL nationals. If you're not from one of these organizations, that is perfectly fine. We are also looking for new umpire groups to work with, and we would love to be able to set up an affiliation agreement with your organization. And what that really just means is we agree to say that any of your umpires can come over to the US and we'll help them if they want to work games over here, and the vice versa. If we have US umpires going over into Australia or England or Germany, etc., that they would try and help out. if somebody wanted to work games over there. All right. That is what is included with the USAFL Nationals. And I'm going to add one other comment, by the way. So, with the tax situation in the US, when you come over from Australia, because you don't have a work permit or a work visa, then what we can't pay you directly. And that's why we provide all this other compensation for you in terms of non-dollars compensation, from the transfers to the hotels and food and everything else and so on and so forth. We find that the value of what we're providing is about twice the dollar value of if we had paid you directly for games. It's about a 2-to-1 ratio. So that works out in your favor quite a bit. So that's what's involved with the USAFL Nationals. If you're interested in coming, then you can let us know directly. You can see the contact information there. We have the USAFL website. We also have our website, the USAFL UA. And directly to get a hold of us by email, you can hit the USAFL UA Tournament Director email if you want to send a message that way. Right. So for anybody who's on the call, do you have any questions for us? Do you have any comments for us? Let me start with
Suppose
Liam.
I'll make a point, Jeff. Sorry.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Um, I didn't come to Nationals last year, but I went to the 2 years beforehand. And being someone that lives in Australia, coming over, it works really well, and it's a really good system. And like Jeff and stuff work really hard to make it easy for you if you're from Australia. So like if you're from Oz and you want to go over and umpire, it's a really good experience, and yeah, like they help organise a lot of stuff. If you have questions or if you're unsure about travel, they're really helpful in getting that stuff sorted out. So yeah.
Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate that. Liam, you've been to multiple tournaments and also were a participant in our our first event last year. We had a father-son game because we had a father-son combo working the field, working the goals, and working the boundary. We had three father-son combos. So, Liam, you want to add your commentary about the number of times you've
Yeah,
been?
I mean, I'm happy to back up Caleb with a lot of what he said around it's such a good trip, and I think yeah, the reason why myself and so many others keep coming back is just because the work that goes into the organization, um, like it's so seamless. Like from the first trip to the last, like it's been really easy to get over. I know what to expect. Even when you're over there, the Aussies or some of the Yanks, as we'll call them, are really helpful. Like just getting lifts to the ground, lifts to dinner. Like everyone's very welcoming, and yeah, one of the reasons why we just kept coming back. And um, it's a great chance to see another part of the world and then combine a bit of what you love in umpiring. Hopefully, you love it if you're going to travel for it. Yeah, it's a great way to sort of kill two birds with one stone and yeah, meet a lot of new people.
Thank you, Liam. For any of our guests who haven't had the experience over here who are contemplating it, do you have any questions or comments? What are you thinking about right now?
Hey, Jeff, maybe you and Liam can talk to the level of footy that the Australian umpires will see when they're here in Tucson, the skill
Okay.
set and skill level.
All right. Yeah. So we didn't go into the different divisions. So we have five fields running simultaneously, and we normally have at least three, often four divisions of men's football, and we also have two divisions of women's football. So the way the teams are allowed to compete is as follows. All the divisions, usually with the exception of the bottom men's division, which is usually either four or five, are playing 18 aside. And the maximum number of Australians who are allowed to be on field at any time is 50%. So 18 aside obviously would be 9 and 9. And the reason for that is we want the competition here in the US to grow the sport here in the US. So that's why the maximum number of Australians is allowed. And that forces teams to reach out into their local communities. So it's not a bunch of Aussie expats getting together to play, which every team does have Aussie expats, but it forces them to bring on and promote the teaching of the game to the Americans. I don't know. I know that, well, I know my club one year did have actually zero Aussies competing one time. But most of the time, teams have anywhere from 2 to 5 Australians competing, depending on the city they're in. But there are also a number of places like New York, San Francisco, Denver, Austin that have a lot of Aussie expats there, and they have quite a few who are participating in the tournament. What that really helps do is teach the Americans what the game can look like rather than saying, hey, here's a footy. We've never actually played this way before with a footy, but show how it's possible and you can learn from the Aussies. So the level of football varies by division. Division one being the top division has some really good play. And so those clubs that are playing in Division one, you're going to be pretty impressed with how with what the skill levels are out there. It's not just the Aussies who are competing, but the Americans as well. The national teams, so the U.S. national teams on the men's side is the USA Revolution, and on the women's side is the USA Freedom. All the coaches for those national teams are scouting every single club there all weekend long to see are there players from around the U.S. that they want to bring on board for the national team. And so the level of competition on both men's and women's Division one is pretty darn high. And then as you move through the other divisions, you'll see a lot of really good players at the other divisions. Um, some players are playing with their home clubs who are on the national teams as well. So just because they're playing in Division 3 or Division 4 or Division 2 on the women's side doesn't mean that there aren't any good players out there. There's quite a few good players at all levels. When you compare it
And
to
I'll just
you
um,
know,
add, I think if you're going to compare it to sort of football back in Australia, it would be your Division One men's in the US would be very similar to our A grade or Premier local football. So can be a really high standard, especially with yes, the expats, but a lot of the US players can be ex-college athletes and um, you know have played a lot of different sports and are very athletic and can sort of pick up pretty quickly. So um, definitely nothing to sort of look past. Like their skills are, um, they pick it up pretty quickly. And even the women's, I
Yeah,
found the
top notch.
women's has certainly come a long way. And I would say it would be very much on par with what it's like in Australia with some of the women's comps.
thanks, Tim. I think there's one other comment that somebody's going to make on the competition. Okay. I do have, if you can see on your screen, that is the gym
Nice.
bag that we have with our logo on it. So you'll get one of these at the competition, where you'll have something to put all your. Oh, by the way, just as another aside, we do have from the Australians, we do have AFL umpires represented. We've had that for I think about probably a dozen or maybe 15 years running, and often they will bring over AFL gear, and we can give that stuff away to those who are interested in it. And also, we have a number of uh, umpires who have swapped gear, and so having a gear bag to swap out some stuff. So if you got your local association gear that you might want to swap out with somebody here, you can do that. When I can say from having been on the national team, when I've gone over to Australia, and I know many other players have done this, they swap gear with other countries. So if you're coming from another country, another association, that is something that might you might bring some gear over and try and swap out with somebody else as well. It's another fun aspect of the weekend.
One other quick point, some people when they come from Australia, they come as individuals or they come as part of their umpire group, friends, or some people do bring families. Tucson has many non-footy attractions. It's in the southwest of the United States, which is a very beautiful place. And for those who will decide to come over, we'll be able to share additional information about climate and family things to do and some of the other ideas that we might have that are pre or post tournament activities. So we'll be happy to share that information with all who are interested.
Right. If there are comments or questions from anybody else, we can entertain those. And if not, we're going to stay online for those who may have called in or are able to call in a little bit late. We're going to stay online for a bit. But that really would end the formal portion of the presentation. So if you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and sign off. If you need to review this later on to see if there's any additional questions, you can certainly review this presentation when we post it online. And Liam will send that out to everybody on his distribution list, so they'll have the access to the link. Thanks everybody for being a part of it, and hopefully we'll see you out in Tucson, Arizona in October.